And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Michael Meier Show for Real Estate Rockstars. Today, we have a banging show for you. So I do this show every week, Thursdays, 4:30, and we have awesome guests. Once in a while, we get somebody really, really special, and that is today. So let me introduce you to our special guest. Before I jump in and do that, let me also briefly introduce you to Jennifer at Meier. Jennifer, are you there?
I am, yes.
Jennifer is a Rockstar agent at Meier, and she will be involved in the show. If you ask questions below of our guest, Jennifer will be there to answer them and interact, and she's a Rockstar as well. So Jennifer, thank you for helping me and helping for doing the show today with me.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Without further ado, the special guest of today, we have none other than the Katie Lance. Katie, how you doing?
I am doing awesome. Well, that is like the best intro ever. Thank you so
I haven't even begun the intro. Let me tell you guys who Katie is, okay? So if you don't know who Katie is, that means you don't know what social media is. That's number one, right? Which means you really need to watch today's show. Second of all, Katie Lance. So I heard of Katie Lance for a long time before I ever spoke with her. So many people, when I would talk about social media and how I could improve and what I could do, would be like, oh, talk to Katie Lance. And then eventually I was talking with someone on Snapchat and they're like, once again, you need to talk to Katie Lance. So that's how we connected, from hearing from her from a million different places. And that's what's awesome about social media in specific, that you get to know people and you get connected to the right people. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the social media guru, the amazing speaker. Once you get to know her, you won't be able to stay away from her. Katie Lance, what up?
Thank you so much, Michael. It is awesome to be here today. And I've decided that wherever I go, you just need to be the one who introduces me, because that was the best. So thank you.
It's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking your time and dropping some knowledge with all of our viewers and those that will be watching on the replay as well.
My pleasure. I'm excited to be here today. I know we've got some awesome stuff we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so Katie, I'm a little bit nervous for you, to be honest, because we have a big question we're going to be answering on this show. And the title of this show is The Biggest Mistakes That Real Estate Agents Are Making on Social Media. That's a scary topic to touch, because so many agents are making mistakes and they know it, and they don't know if it's that social media just sucks or if they're doing something wrong. And honestly, they're doing something wrong, and you're going to tell them what that is. So are you ready for this challenge today?
I'm ready. Let's bring it on. Let's do it.
All right. So we will be talking about that today, and we're going to delve a little bit into the trends for social media for 2017 as well, because if anybody knows the trends that are upcoming, this is what you do. This is what you consult for. This is what people go to you for. So thanks so much. So why don't we start off with, there's probably lots of things you can share. What is one of the biggest things that you see agents doing online that might be the reason that they're not having success? What is something that you're seeing that people might want to think about changing if they're doing it?
Well, there's a few things, but I'll give one big thing I would say is, I think a lot of people aren't, I know, right? Tell me now. I think one big thing is they're not patient enough, right? Like, we want what we want when we want it right now. Like, we want leads on Facebook right now. Like, what's the ROI of Snapchat right now? What's in it for me, right? And when you look at the agents and brokers like yourself who are getting business and referrals and they're generating all this buzz from social media, they understand that it takes time. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to take years and years, but it takes a consistent effort. So if you're only on Snapchat once in a blue moon or Facebook once every 2 weeks, like, you're not going to get any results, right? You have to put in, it's just like any other marketing. Even when you think about sort of traditional marketing, newspaper ads and billboards and all this stuff a lot of people used to spend a lot of money on, consistency makes a huge difference. So honestly, I think it's a basic tip, but I also think it's just a reminder, even in this day and age, there's so much noise. And how do you cut through the noise? You have to be consistent with the effort that you're putting out, and you can't expect it to happen right away, right? It takes that effort. And the other thing I'll mention too is that you can't outsource it all, right? I see a lot of top agents who are doing this who are like, I'm just going to pay somebody to do it for me because I don't have time to do it, which I get. And on one hand, yes, it's fine to hire maybe a videographer or a copy editor or a graphic designer to help you. But at the end of the day, like, you are you, right? People hire you because of you. And that's the beauty of social, is that social is social, right? Like, if you can't outsource yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so it's been something we've been talking about for a long time, but it's, I think, even more important now in 2017.
Yeah, I'm going to get a little personal here. So, I am an aggressive, want to go get things done kind of person, and I don't always have patience. That's just me. I want things done now, and I want them. I just want to get things done. And fortunately, I enjoy building relationships on social media. So aside from just making money on it, I actually enjoy you, right? Like, you are a part of my life, and that's a cool thing regardless of making money, right? So I enjoy it, which keeps me doing it. And it did take a few months till I started seeing any leads coming into my company because of it, until I saw any agents joining my firm because they saw that I was using it. It's funny because I'm in New York City, and some of the agents that are watching are in New York City. And in New York City, we don't have some of the same ways to get business that some people do in other places. Like, we don't have expired listings that are easy to go after because we don't have an MLS like everyone else. And so it's really relationship based. So much of it's relationship based. And you'll have people that will go out there and do like postcards, and they'll go do mailings, and they say it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I grew a business on that.
Right.
But it was because it was the consistency. And I'm seeing with social media that we did 7 deals last weekend, and it was because of social media. But I didn't get on social media a week ago and then everybody came. I got on social media for months, and these are people that were in my database that were seeing me in all these different ways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think too, like, a lot of people think, I'll just have a Facebook page and I'll just post, whenever I have a listing, or I'll post like here and there. And you have to think, like, is the effort you're putting in equal to the reward you're getting? Right. And it's, when you first start, it's like pushing a big boulder up the hill, and you've got to be really kind of aggressive with it. I think a good example is, for us, we've been doing a lot of content, but this year in particular, we're like, I said, we're going all in with video, and we've done more video this year in the last 10 weeks since January 1 than we've done in a long time.
It's awesome.
And it's like, you just have to go all in. You can't like dabble and, well, let's try this out. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to, you don't have to have the perfect plan in place. I think a lot of people wait and they suffer from analysis paralysis versus just do it, right? And do it aggressively. And when you do it aggressively and you have that consistent effort, you're going to get that consistent reward, which is, like what you're doing, Michael, the fact you're doing a show every week, you're all over Snapchat, you're teaching, you're coming from a place of abundance. And that is huge, right? All of a sudden people are like, who's this Michael Meier, right? Mm-hmm. Quote, all of a sudden, right? And it's because you've been putting in this effort aggressively and you've gotten the results from it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Some of the successes that I've seen and that the agents at Meier's my brokerage in New York City, that agents have seen over here is when they take a social media post and they kind of cross-pollinate it. They repurpose it in some way. And I bring this up because I've seen recently, you're now on maybe your 10th or 11th I don't know what you call your daily, your video snapshots. What do you call your video, your short video segments that you've been?
Oh, my vlogs. Yeah.
Your vlogs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's great. Anybody who wants like bite-sized, great information, it's jam-packed, it's fun, you got some cool graphics. But I don't think that's the only place that you're teaching the same thing. You're doing it in multiple ways. So maybe you could talk to people a little bit about diversification of what they're doing.
Yes, this is a great topic. I love it. We could have a whole show about this, but it's so important. And this is a mistake I see people make all the time, where they take one piece of content, a video, a blog post, something they've created, and then they just blast it everywhere, right? They like click one button and all of a sudden, there's even software where you can do this. And I'm always like, don't do that. So that doesn't mean you can't repurpose it and repackage it and distribute it in different ways. So we do that. For example, like you said, we have our weekly vlog that comes out. Well, we share it on Facebook. We share that link on Facebook. We share it with a few of our Facebook groups. We then share it again on Facebook a week or so later. We share it again a few months later, especially if it's relevant and it's not timely. We do it a few different ways as well. Like, we'll create different graphics for Instagram. I'll create an Instagram story around it. I'll create a Snapchat story around it. And the idea is that you think about how each platform works and what is the ecosystem of that platform, right? So Snapchat, if I were just to throw up a link and say, hey, check out my latest vlog, yeah, I might get some people who look at it, but it's more valuable if I can say, hey, I've got 3 tips for you today. I'm going to share with those what you are. And at the end, like Snapchat this, or, screenshot this last, snap, because I'm going to give you a link to find out more information about it. So it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's like, how do you take that one piece of content and you sort of slice and dice it depending on what the network is, right? And I think that makes a big difference. And it doesn't mean you have to be everywhere. I don't think as an agent, you have to be on every single platform. But if you're going to be on Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook or any network, how do you sort of repurpose that and repackage it? I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah. So an example was 2 weeks ago, I had a second daughter, a baby girl born.
Yes. Congratulations again.
Thank you. And in the hospital, I did a little video, and so that video went straight to Facebook Live. I just went and I videoed this thing. But then one of the great successes that I've had with repurposing was I would take that video then and I send that out to an email to my database. And now in an email, there's text, and emails are emails. So there's other stuff to it. Still had the video, still was able to bring the juice. And now on top of that, people were seeing a video that they could see right away other people found value in it because it had views on it already, which in my mind makes them read my email that much more and pay attention.
Yep.
So I've seen that kind of repurposing. I heard you say something recently. You were talking about if somebody, for example, writes a blog post and maybe they include multiple images in that blog post and how they might use those images in a way. Why don't you share with us, because I thought that was really great, how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been doing this for quite some time, where we create a blog post and we, it's something meaty. It's, I don't know, depending on how long you write, maybe it's a 500, 700, 1,000 word blog post, whatever it is. And a few things with the blog, you want to have a great featured image, right? Because when you share that link to Facebook, that's the image that pulls in. And that's half of why someone clicks on it. So sometimes the featured image becomes like this afterthought, and it shouldn't be an afterthought. It's an important piece of your blog. But within the blog post, what we like to do is we'll create maybe 2 or 3 different graphics throughout the blog post that maybe it's, quotes or some sort of key point that we want to make, and it ties the whole blog post together. But the value is then we'll use those little quotes or those little graphics as a way to repurpose the content. So we might share the blog post originally, and then we'll see that featured image. And then a few days later, we'll share it again, but we'll use a different image that we use within the blog. And so it kind of looks different, but it's the same content, right? And that image can get shared on Instagram. We usually make them square so they look great on Instagram. We'll share it again on Twitter. And we do that for a lot of our blog posts. So every blog post that you see typically has, 2, 3, maybe 4 graphics. And it helps us, makes the blog post look great, but it also helps us when we're repurposing it and resharing it over the course of the next few weeks. I think a big mistake a lot of people make is they publish something once, they share it to Facebook, maybe they tweet it once or twice, and that's it. And they're like, oh, no one's reading my blog. Well, of course not, right? You've got to get it out there.
Yeah, no, completely. I kind of see it, you do a lot of public speaking. And when you get on stage and you have thousands of people that come to hear you speak, and you're on stage, and first of all, you got your voice, you're talking. That's like one method of getting the message across. And then you have your slides, which is another message. And the slides are the same thing that you're saying, but they're handwritten, or they're like typed, and there's text and there's images. And you're using text, you're using images, you're using voice, you're using your body language. Those are multiple ways that you are speaking to the brains out there. Yeah. And so if somebody has something good to post on social media, if they just go up there and like they were just standing on stage and there was a mute button and you were just standing there, nobody heard anything, how much do you think people are going to watch for? They don't hear you. You need to really get to people in multiple ways. So, and that's why, like, I hear a lot of the messages that you said, and I'm sure the first time I heard a message that you communicated, I thought it was great, but it probably came in and out. And then I heard it a different way, and a different way, and a different way. And now it's just, oh, that's what I do. It's organic. And first of all, thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Absolutely. Well, you're right. And people, there is so much noise. There's more noise than ever before. I equate Facebook to almost like you're standing on the side of the freeway and you're just watching cars fly by. And that's what's happening, right? We're all on our phone and we're, scrolling with our thumb, and you've got to be thumb stopping, right? Especially with Facebook. And so, when you talk about video and visuals and just hearing somebody, that's why video is so key, whether it's Facebook Live, like we're doing right now, whether it's the recorded version, which, people who watch this after the fact, which we'll have a lot of people who are watching this after the fact, whether it's recorded video, it's more powerful than ever before. And there's something about hearing you and seeing you that's just so huge.
Hey guys,
Yes.
if you don't mind me chiming in, we do have a few questions in the comments that are directed toward Katie. So Katie, one question is that social media is obviously constantly evolving. So how do you stay ahead of the trends?
That's a good question. I'm one of these, I'm kind of a geek in the sense that I just love social media, right? I've always loved marketing and branding. That's been my whole background. And when social media came around, I was just like, it's like a light bulb. Like, this is amazing. What do you mean? It's not like this one-way street. Like, we can have a conversation with people. How awesome is this, right? Like, and I still feel that way. And I know it sounds kind of nerdy, but that's how I feel. And so, because it's my industry, even though I really consider myself also part of the real estate industry, I just love staying up to date on things. So I read TechCrunch and I read Mashable and I read Social Media Examiner, and I love to look outside the real estate industry. I love to see case studies and examples of the car industry or the wine industry. I love wine, and to see what other things are happening. And what I'm a big believer in is I try to see what's out there, see what are some of the trends, and then try out different things. When Snapchat first kind of became a thing, so to speak, I remember trying it out, and I wasn't on stage promoting Snapchat yet because I didn't really feel like, is this really a viable thing to promote? So I consider my role, in a way, kind of vetting through a lot of the stuff that's out there. And then, when you see me talk about it on stage or my blog or my vlog or Facebook Live, like, just know, like, I've taken the time to really think about, is it worth it me to promote, to talk about, to teach, especially for real estate? I think that's so valuable.
Yeah.
Right. There's also another question directed toward Facebook pages. What are some best practices that you recommend for maintaining your Facebook page?
So I think one thing for Facebook pages, you've got to be consistent. You have to have a content plan. One of the things I've been talking about for years and years is using a content grid. And in fact, we actually have a link where you can download our free content grid on our website. Maybe we can throw that link up here on the Facebook Live here. But having a content grid is a huge way to be really consistent, because most agents and brokers get stuck with what to post, right? And when you're managing multiple listings, the last thing you're thinking about is, what should I post to Facebook today? So thinking ahead, I'm a big believer in batching your content, right? So what I mean by that is sitting down and scheduling the next 3 to 5 days. I don't mean automating everything. I don't mean setting it and forgetting it, but getting into a system and a routine, right? Just like Michael's got every Thursday, he does a show. Getting into a routine. So maybe it's Fun Friday or Monday Market Update. You get into this routine. And when you schedule some of your content, what that allows you to do, it allows you the freedom of, when you are out and about and you want to share something in the moment, you can do it in the moment and still know that you've got some consistent content that's going out there. The other thing that makes a huge difference, not a big surprise, but visual content. A picture's worth 1,000 words. I think, video is probably worth 10,000 words. So you've got to really invest in video, and especially Facebook Live. Especially for organic growth on your Facebook business page. Of course, you can do ads and boosting, which helps, but organic reach isn't dead. And the way to impact that in a big way and to get leads on your business page is be consistent and have a lot of visual content, especially video and Facebook Live.
Awesome.
And for anybody who's watching this on the replay and wants to get a copy of the content grid, what's the best way for them to to be able to grab that from you? Awesome. Okay, fantastic. So we will make sure that we can, Katie, do you want us to share that in the comments? What's the best way that you'd like us to share your content grid?
Yeah, we can just share it right here in the comments. The link, if anyone, is listening to this and can't write it down, it's just katielance.com/content grid.
Fantastic.
And so they can just go right to that. That'll ask for their name and email. And it's about a 7 or 8 page PDF that they'll get to their email, which includes the content grid and a bunch of tips on content strategy and social media strategy.
Fantastic. Okay, we will make sure to share that as well. Thank you very much for that, Katie.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So we're talking about, some of the blunders that real estate agents make out there. And so far we've discussed consistency. They lack consistency, right? They go out there and say, they go make one post and they don't multi-purpose it and they just do it one time, right? And it falls on deaf ears. They're the car on the highway that just speeds by and one time and it's gone.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you're saying that people need to do. What are some other things that you're saying sometimes people are automating their social media when social media is all about human, like the personal thing, and you can't automate yourself other than promoting yourself, and we can't do that yet. So, so that's the second thing that you were saying. What is
Yeah.
something else that you're seeing a lot of agents out there that maybe they approach you and they say, Katie, I'm really trying hard to get leads on Facebook, and like, I don't know, like I'm not getting anything. What are
Yeah.
some major things you're seeing that people are doing wrong that don't even realize it?
Well, part of this has to go with the automation part of it, but I think a big mistake still is not investing the time in engaging with people and doing so in a really intentional way. I think a lot of people mistake, well, I'm on Facebook like every day, but nothing's happening, right? But where I see the biggest opportunity for agents isn't even necessarily in what you're posting. I mean, that's a part of it, right? How often, and video and everything we're talking about. But the other piece of that is being really intentional about engaging with people. And so one tip I can give people, and you may have heard this because I talk about this all the time, is especially on Facebook, I love that you can create lists, right? You can create a list of your family, your friends, but especially for business, you can create a list of your clients and your potential clients. And the value of doing that, now, of course, you're not going to be friends with all of your clients. I get that. But the ones you are, instead of going to Facebook and looking at that noisy highway of 500 Facebook friends, you can go right to your client list and take a few minutes every day, look to see what they're doing, and then be really intentional about liking or commenting, or maybe there's an opportunity to pick up the phone, right? It's their birthday, call them, right? Instead of writing on their Facebook page. But using something as simple as a Facebook list to get really intentional about connecting with people, because this is a relationship business, right? And relationships are built with these small, tiny interactions over the course of time. This is the part you can't outsource, but it shouldn't take all day. When done right, it probably only is going to take 10 or 15 minutes a day, but it's still a mistake. I see people not realizing like why that's so valuable. And then they run into somebody at the grocery store that they sold a house to 5 years ago. And their client's like, oh my gosh, are you still in real estate? We just bought a house, right? It's the worst. And so keeping in touch with people, I think it's a big struggle that a lot of agents and brokers have, right? Somebody goes through a transaction. It's the biggest deal of their life, emotionally, financially. And then we think about how we keep in touch with them. Email drips, postcards, Christmas cards, pumpkins, whatever it might be. And Facebook, especially with lists, I think is a great way to be really organized about staying in touch with people, on a day-to-day basis. So that's a big mistake I see, just forgetting that piece of it. And it's so important. In fact, I would almost say it's almost more important than anything else that you can do on Facebook or social media.
Wow.
So, and same thing with Snapchat. Like you're on Snapchat a lot, Michael. And what I love about what you're doing is you're not just blasting content out there. Like you're taking the time to watch other people's snaps, to engage with them. So whatever platform you're on, maybe you're tired of Facebook. So maybe Instagram's where you want to be, or wherever it might be. It's not about just like talking and blasting out stuff. You've got to equally take a couple minutes, scroll through your feed, get intentional and connect with people. It makes a huge difference.
It's interesting you say this because on our last show that we had, we were talking about how agents can make $100,000 in their first year in the business. And part of that conversation, which was a great conversation, everybody should watch the last show as well, was talking about one of the parts of that was actually grading your database, meaning grading the contacts in your database. And what that means is looking at all your contacts and saying, you know what, is this a contact that will refer me business? And is this a contact that maybe has a great network and could refer me business, but doesn't really know me enough or doesn't really even remember I'm in real estate, but I'm going to really put a focus on these people to move them from just my sphere of influence to people that are going to actually refer me business. And so we had a Meier Accelerator program in our company yesterday, and we're sitting with the agents, and I said to them, hey, have you begun to grade your contacts? Have you done this? And we had a whole conversation. And now as you're bringing it into the social media world, because really you could be building Facebook lists where you have, the people that you think can refer you business, maybe your past clients, where you make a Facebook list of your past clients. And those are the people obviously that are going to refer you the best business. They did business with you. And these are people that you can zero in and focus on to help move them up and give them a better grade, so to speak, in your contact list. So thanks for bringing offline online over here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love it. And it's just about keeping in touch with people. It's not about, hey, I'm a realtor. Don't forget, hey, I'm a broker. It's just keeping in touch with people and being top of mind. And, if you think about, people work with you because of your experience and your expertise, but they connect with you because of things that are personal. And that's the value of social media, is that you kind of let people in a little bit to who you are personally. Doesn't mean you have to share everything, but you connect with people in a way that's personal and makes a big difference.
Yeah, totally. Let me see. Jennifer, do we have any other comments, any other questions that you'd like to throw out?
Yeah, absolutely. One question is, what are 3 tips to increase business with Facebook ads? Do you use Facebook ads?
Absolutely. I love Facebook ads. Well, I'll say I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Facebook ads. I love Facebook ads, but Facebook ads can be really confusing, I think, for most brokers. Maybe not most, but a lot of brokers and agents. It's easy to get overwhelmed. There's a gazillion different options with Facebook ads. So I would say the first thing, 3 quick tips. So the first thing would be start small, start with boosting a post. If you've never done that before, it's definitely worth it. Just spend $5 or $10, boost the post, see what happens. And boost something that has to do with your business, right? So whether that's a listing, it's a photo of you and your client, just something to do with your business. Start there, start small. And then the second tip I would give you is to really get to know Facebook's ad manager, right? When you dive into Facebook's ad manager, there's a lot you can do when it comes to targeting. Typically what I find works the best is targeting income, interest, and age. Income, what did I say? Income, age, and
income, interest, and age.
Yes, income, interest, and age, and also obviously geography, right? So if you just focus in New York, you don't necessarily want to target everybody in the whole United States. Maybe you do, depending on on what your ad is all about. Interest can get a little wonky. So a lot of times it is just the geographic, the income or net worth, as well as age. Language can make a big difference, right? Sometimes people aren't selecting a language feature. And if, like for me, English is my primary language. So I just want to target people who, are speaking English, because that's my primary language. And you can do a lot of that targeting in Facebook's ad manager versus just boosting. The third tip I would give people is that really where I think the secret sauce lies is when you can do custom audiences. And this is especially helpful for people who have a list. Like if you have an email list, you've been growing your email database, you can download your email database into like a spreadsheet and then upload that into Facebook. And the value of doing that is you're running ads then to people who already know, like, and trust you, right? You've probably already done business with them. Maybe they're already on your mailing list. Hopefully they're already on your mailing list if they're on your list. And they're more likely to engage with your ad, to share your ad. And from there, you can create lookalike audiences. You can do all kinds of other stuff too. But it's sort of an added benefit to having a really robust email list and an email marketing plan is you can, and we do a lot of that. We run a lot of our ads against our email list because we find those are the people that are more likely to engage with our ad. And we get business from that. So we could do a whole show just about Facebook ads. For sure. There's a lot we could talk about.
So obviously you have to pay for the ads. So do you find a big return on the investment when you do them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it depends on what the ad is all about. The challenge is a lot of agents wait until they're about to place an ad to really think about it. So I always say before you even go into doing an ad, you really want to think about what's your audience, like who do you really want to target? And a lot of that has to do with who do you really want to work with? So if you're doing some sort of lead generation ad, of course we say, oh, I could work with anybody. Of course I could work with anyone. But like really, who do you love to work with, right? Like the last person you worked with who you just were fired up about, you couldn't wait to take their call. Why was it that you loved to work with them, right? Was it their age? Was it the demographic? Was it like, what was it? And alternatively, who was the person that you just couldn't stand to work with, right? And that is a good starting point of like, who do you really want to work with? Who do you want to target? Of course, images play a big role in your ads. We build all of our the graphics in our ads using Canva. Canva.com is a great resource. There's a free version. There's also a paid version. But this allows you to really, size them properly. Images make a big difference, of course. And then spending a little bit of time on your wording too, right? We find with wording on ads, if it's less about you and more about what's in it for them, it can make a big difference. So I'll just give you a really fast example. So instead of saying like new listing, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, open Sunday 1 to 4, if you switch that around and say something like, ready to stop renting? I can help you. Check out XYZ Main Street, right? Like what's in it for them? And that is a type of ad that you're going to see just more engagement, more conversion on versus, hey, check me out or check this out that I'm selling you. That makes sense?
Absolutely. Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, that makes great sense. Katie, we're running to the end of the show. I just wanted to, in the last couple of minutes, if you can maybe throw out one thing. One of the things that we were going to discuss on the show was trends for 2017, right? Social media trends. I'm sure that can be like 10 hours worth of content for you.
Probably.
So maybe you pick like one thing so that I don't lie to my viewers. And we tell them this is a trend they should be looking towards and expecting to grow this year and include in their social media planning.
Sure. So I think a big trend for 2017 is looking at the science behind why somebody shares something. Okay. So for example, it's one thing to think about why does somebody like something or engage with it, but it's a whole other thing when someone shares your post, right? And we've all had that experience. We're like, wow, 3 people shared it, or dozens of people shared something. And I've actually been doing a lot of research around this whole science behind why someone shares. And I think it's really important to think about it when you're not just getting started with social media, but maybe you've been doing social media for a while and feeling like, okay, am I really getting traction? Just keep in mind that people share things typically because it moves them, right? It's something emotional. Maybe it's poignant. Maybe it's really funny and silly and stupid. It's something inspirational. But what we found is that people share generally the most when they're reading something that they feel like other people are going to like, and it's going to make them look really smart by sharing it. Okay. So why is this important for real estate? So when you're thinking about your content, thinking about how can you provide content, maybe you don't think you're funny, maybe you don't know how to make somebody cry, right? But where I think the big opportunity for real estate is you have so much knowledge right up here, right? And so how can you provide really great knowledge that's going to make you look smart, but also the person who shares it look really smart too. So it's just something to think about. It's a little, I don't know if it's, if it's out there or not, but I think it's important to think about this whole science of why people share. And this is why video content and Facebook Live are huge right now, right? Because people are engaging with that type of content and they're engaging with it, right there in their news feed. It makes a big difference, as well as Snapchat, Instagram stories, all that good stuff. So
yeah, that's really cool. I never thought about that, because really what you're saying is that if you're sharing it, that means that it's important to you. Yeah. And, people are going to want to share. When they share something, it says something about who they are as a person. So if they share something that's terrible, it means like they're into terrible things and they don't know what's good or not. But if they share stuff like Katie Lance, on the Michael Meier show, then like they look like geniuses, because they listen to the guru here.
Exactly, right?
Everybody share this right now.
Share it out, yeah.
Katie, thank you so much for joining us on this show. You've really shared some really, really great things. And Katie, if anybody wants to learn more from you, I know you have a lot of amazing things that I'm involved with, that I'm a member of. You have the Academy. Please tell people about some of the stuff that they can do to experience more of you.
Absolutely. Well, probably 2 big things. So last year we launched our Get Social Smart Academy, which is our online academy for agents and brokers who are tired of spinning their wheels when it comes to social media. It's a membership site, and it's just really kind of taken off like gangbusters. It's been awesome to be able to help agents and serve more people. Really, honestly, at the end of the day, I had a big mission last year of how do I serve more people? There's only one of me, right? And there's only 24 hours in the day. So if you go to getsocialsmart.com, and I'm sure we can throw the link here in the Facebook Live, that's where people can find out more about what the Academy is, how to sign up, what's included. And then the other big thing is we have a book coming out here in the next few weeks, which is exciting. And it's also called Get Social Smart. And if you go to getsocialsmartbook.com, you can find out more about the book and get on the VIP list so you can find out exactly when we launch. But that, I'm super pumped about it. That has taken me close to 2 years to write. So it's like my 3rd child that's going to happen here.
Yeah, wow.
Pretty soon. So very excited about that.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. And I'm sure everybody who is who wants to grow and excel is going to connect with you as well. So, thanks for putting this out there. Everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to connect with Katie, you know how to find her, and we've shown it here on screen. If you'd like to connect with me, my name is Michael Meier. I'm the broker owner of Meier Real Estate. We are a New York City brokerage firm that believes in education and coaching and agent development and growth. So we want you all to grow no matter where you are, and we want to be a part of that and help you. So if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook at Michael Meier NYC, or on Snapchat, or just Google me at michaelmeyernyc.com, and we'll connect there. Thank you so very much, Jennifer. Thank you for being part of the show and putting all those questions together. And I know that there's a bunch of questions we haven't gotten to yet, but we will try to address them over time. So thank you very much for being part of the show.
Happy to be here.
All right, everybody who's watching, have yourselves a great night. See you later. Thank you so much. And feel free to continue to ask your questions, put your comments, and share. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Michael.